11.4 3D figures. Essential question. Can you identify the cross-section of a solid? Can you identify the solid after a 2D figure is revolved around an axis? Types of solids. Polyhedra, which are made up of polygons, and in these two are polyhedras. One is called a prism. You can identify a prism because the bases are parallel and congruent. So this base and this base are parallel and congruent. This one only has one base, and it has a point part here, and so that's called a pyramid. These are not polyhedra because one of the sides is actually not a polygon, but a circle. And of course this doesn't even have any polyhedra there. All right, tell whether each solid is a polyhedron. If it is, name the polyhedron. Now I can see this is a base and it's parallel over here, so I can see that this is going to be a prism. Now I need to name the type of prism by looking at its base. It is a rectangle, but to make it sound like an adjective, we say rectangular prism. In this case, this is a polyhedron. It's made up of polygons. This is the base. And I know this is a pyramid. And this is a hexagon, so to give it a adjective sound, hexagonal pyramid. And this is not a polyhedron, but I think you know its name. It's called a cone. Okay, your turn. Stop the screencast and see what you can do here. Okay, this answer is a pyramid. And I can tell this is a square because it's a parallelogram with a right angle. And so I just call it a square pyramid. This is not a polyhedron, but I can see it looks like half a cylinder. Now here I see my bases. Here's a base and here's a base. They're parallel and congruent. That some students think that this is the base, and that's not true because there's not another base that's parallel and congruent to that. So I know prism is the appropriate word, and we name it by its base. And I can see that it's a right, and I know it's a triangle, but I give it triangular to make it sound like an adjective, prism. Okay, the next topic I'd like to cover is cross-section. It's the intersection of a solid and a plane. And if you were to cut an apple, this picture inside here is what we call the cross-section. Here's another idea with food. If you were to cut a celery, this would be called the cross-section. Now let's actually let you see the plane. So if this plane were intersecting with this cone, we could see that the intersection is a point. This pentagonal pyramid is being intersected by a plane, and you can see we have a pentagon as the answer. Here's a hexagonal prism intersected by a plane, and you can see the hexagon is the cross section. We had a cone at the beginning. Here's a cone again, but this time the plane is intersecting vertically, and when it intersects vertically we have a whole new cross section, and that's going to be a triangle. Okay, and here's one last look at cross sections. You can see this cross section is from a horizontal plane, and this cross section, which looks like a rectangle, is from a vertical plane. Okay, describe the shape formed by the intersection of the plane and the solid. And we can see the plane and we can see the solid, and this looks like a hexagon. So that's the cross section. Here is going to be a triangle. I don't know what type. Now this plane looks like it's making a rectangle when it cuts into it. Over here this looks like a circle. Over here this looks like a circle when it cuts into the sphere. And here this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4-sided figure. So I'll just say quad. All right, your turn. Stop the screencast and see what you can do. The answer is pentagon. And this looks like a hexagon. And this looks like a circle. And it looks like it's a big circle because it's including the center of the sphere. Okay, here's another idea. Have you ever gone through these revolving doors? This revolving door, as it goes around and around, faster and faster, it suggests a cylinder shape. And so that's what we're going to do right now. We are going to take a two-dimensional figure, like a triangle, and we're going to revolve it, going around and around, and it's going to suggest the shape of a cone. Let's take another two-dimensional figure, this rectangle right here, and we're going to revolve it around the y-axis, and that suggests a cylinder. Okay, so let's test your knowledge here. If we were to take this figure and we would revolve it around the x-axis, would it have this shape, this shape, this shape, or this shape? And the answer is it would have figure 1 shape. So it would be creating a cone. Okay, sketch the solid produced by rotating the figure around the given axis, then identify and describe the solid. So we are going to revolve around this axis, which is going to suggest a cylinder. And this cylinder will be 9 as far as the height, and its radius will be 4. We're going to revolve around the axis. This is going to suggest a cone, and the cone's height will be 5, and the radius will be 2. Okay, your turn. Go ahead and stop the screencast and see what you can do. And this is the answer. This is going to be a cone, and it looks like the height will be 4 and the radius will be 3. This is going to suggest a cylinder, and the height will be 8, and it looks like the radius here for the circle will be 6. Now when we revolve around here, this is going to suggest a sphere, and the radius of that sphere is going to be 7.